spot, we're going to be having a look at the Batman's Batgirl. Batgirl comes to us from the Extreme Power line, which comes to us with the horrible power keys. I'll get into that in a second. But this is the first release, and this is the first time we've gotten a Batgirl figure from the Batman cartoon series. So definitely I would say if there was no other reason to pick up this particular figure, that would be it. It was just the fact that you can get this Batgirl. On the back of the packaging, it shows the gimmick, the idea behind the cyber key. Very, very stupid, but I'll get into that when I open up the figure. The other figures in the wave are, there's Capture Batman, Night Strike Batman, Midnight Ninja, Clayface, the Riddler, Night Shadow Batman, Batarang Batman, and Crazy Cut Up Joker. Yeah, so there's the other figures in the wave. It's a lot of hit or miss, I think, with Batman figures, from the Batman line at least. I think while some of them are good, some of them are worth the pickup, like this Batgirl. There are a lot of other figures like the repaints and stuff. I would just say stay away. Definitely not worth picking up. But speaking of picking up, though, and worth picking up, let's get this Batgirl opened up, and we will get a closer look at the figure. So stay tuned, guys. And now that she's out of the packaging, let's get a closer look at Batgirl. You'll notice actually that first of all, she comes with a base, and at least in displaying it on this fabric backdrop here, you definitely need this base because the figure does not stand well on her own. I'll take the base off just for the time being so I can actually show you guys the figure. Nice detailing. You know, for what it is, it's nice detailing. It definitely looks like Batgirl, that's for sure, from the cartoon. And now a lot of people really crapped on this figure, actually really crapped all over the character. They weren't happy with, I think, the fact that Batgirl was brought in first before Robin, and I don't know if they liked the fact that she was as childish as she was. Like she wasn't a teen. She was still, what? How old was she? Like 14, 12, 14? I'm thinking 14. I mean, she might have been older. I don't know. But I mean, the figure overall isn't bad. I mean, it's got the nice cloth cape, which, as I mentioned already, works well, I think, with the Batman figures. And I like her hair, the little red hair she's got tucking out the back there. Now, there is a bit of paint application problem on my figure. As you can see, there's a little bit of black smudged on there. If you watched my review of the Selina Kyle figure, she has that same problem. She's got that rubbery kind of arm. There's no articulation in the arm aside from just the shoulders. There is articulation in the head, in the waist, and nothing really from the waist down. It's basically just a statue. Not necessarily a bad thing. I mean, she may not necessarily be something you'd want to put on or you'd want to play with as a display piece, though. She isn't bad. The one downside, though, is if you wanted to put her in the Batmobile, you wouldn't be able to. I mean, the fact that she doesn't bend at the legs pretty much limits her to, aside from just being able to stand on display. Speaking of stand, though, I'll put her back on the displays just so I can get her to actually stand properly. Her one other feature includes, kind of looks like a jet, like a futuristic, you know, something. I don't know. Maybe something you'd see in Halo. The idea is she can hold it. Now, she doesn't hold it very well. The same thing with Batman. Batman's biggest problem is that, first of all, she has rubber arms, which doesn't help the matter at all. And the fact that she's got this really heavy unit, I don't know if the actual, I mean, she only clips it in one hand, but I mean, as you can see, being that she has rubber arms, she doesn't really hold it. It just kind of falls off her. But what it does, though, and this is where the stupid key comes into place, is the fact that there's a little peg on the back, a little hole, and then you take this key and you snap it into place when you find that right spot, and then and then once it's in place, all you have to do is rotate it, and it does that. And it's surprising that it doesn't actually open these up, but I guess that's the only gimmick that's on. That's it, though. But as I mentioned, though, with the Batman, I really don't like the fact that you have to use these keys, just because if the accessory isn't large enough on its own, these giant scissors, the fact that you got to put this extra piece in it, just, can you see how large it is on her? I mean, it just makes absolutely no sense. And for that reason, I think it was just a badly planned out gimmick on a figure line. Would it? I mean, if this worked on its own, I guess it wouldn't be too bad. But just I think the key is kind of just a silly thing. It's very similar to I guess the keys with Armada, Transformers Armada. Was that the one with the keys? But very similar in idea. And the mini-cons, I guess, are very similar too. Overall, it's not a bad figure. I have actually a second Batgirl, and I opened up this one just because the other Batgirl had really serious paint issue problems with her nose. Her nose was messed up. And so for that reason, I opened up this one. This will be the one I put on display. But overall, it's not a bad figure. I mean, if you want to get a Batgirl figure, this is the way you want to go, at least for the Batman line. I'm more happy to have picked up the Robin, I think, than the Batgirl, but she's still a nice addition. But there you have a toy spot on the Batman XP line, and that was Batgirl. So I hope you guys enjoyed it, and I will see you guys next time. Boy!